I'd like now to recognize my friend from Virginia, Mr. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with what Dr. Murphy said a few moments ago. He said it's hard to say why DEI offices exist. I certainly agree with that. And yet, in his 2021 report, Diversity University, DEI Bloat in the Academy, Dr. Green found that large public universities average about 45 DEI personnel, ranging from Stanford University with 80, Virginia Tech with 83, Ohio State with 94, University of Virginia in my district 94, and then the biggest one that I noted, Michigan, University of Michigan with 163. So Dr. Green, in your testimony, you cite the millions of dollars that various universities spend on DEI offices, and you state that there is indeed, quote, nothing to show for these expenditures. Can you elaborate on that, what you mean by that there's nothing to show for these expenditures?
Sure. So we've heard claims that DEI is meant to make students feel included, improve retention and graduation, but we haven't heard any evidence of that. And there's a reason for it. I don't believe that evidence exists. And in fact, the systematic evidence that I've collected is that that campus climate is no better on campuses, in fact is worse, according to student surveys, at universities with larger DEI bureaucracies, and anti-Semitism is associated with DEI bureaucracies as well. So millions of dollars are being spent, and it's actually exacerbating group tension, not helping.
Yeah, so if you had let's say an average of 100 on a college campus, just for round numbers, and the average cost, full benefit package, $200,000, that's $20 million a year. Where's all that money? You don't find any evidence that's actually benefiting in any measurable way, is what you're saying. But go ahead.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, but DEI offices do serve to divide, discriminate, and differentiate how people are treated based on race. And this is 60 years after the Civil Rights Act, 57 years after the first black Supreme Court justice, with two others who followed behind are still in the court today, 16 years after our country elected the first black president, and now 3 years after our nation elected our first minority vice president. But as you noted, the DEI jobs on college campuses are not low-paying jobs, are they? Matter of fact, at the University of Virginia in my district, the vice president for DEI and community partnerships makes $340,000. At University of Virginia, $340,000, double that of a member of Congress, and I realize most people think that we're overpaid, but it's also double the average of a university professor at UVA, which is about $175,000. Is there any way you could justify that or explain why we would pay the head of DEI double what we pay a college professor at UVA or a school like that?
No, I don't think there's any justification for it. This is money being wasted, and in fact, money that's hurting the legitimate purposes of higher education.
And you've already noted that you've seen no measurable performance metrics that demonstrate the difference that it's making, other than perhaps the jobs program for the individuals that are in those DEI offices.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So again, DEI offices, they do create and perpetuate high-paying job opportunities with little in the way of meaningful performance measurements, other than to continue to perpetuate racial division for woke liberals who believe our country's irretrievably and systemically racist. And I would again argue that the jobs program for these individuals does not justify their existence. To make matters worse, by the way, on who is hired into these jobs, the Assistant VP for Equity and Inclusion Excellence at, again, University of Virginia in my district, was recently seen on a video discussing how people, including white people, are, quote, dying of whiteness and dying prematurely in their 20s. Clearly, that sentiment, I guess, justifies her exorbitant salary. But thankfully, Mr. Chairman, we have a Supreme Court that is beginning to dismantle the mythical need to continue to treat people differently based on race, and I yield back.